.local. You had to come in here first, and you had to add a zone, right? 2 or 3 of you had errors, like you forgot a semicolon or forgot something, and bind never ran. So you got dinged for a few points there. The other thing we had to add was, not this, sorry, some DB file for the domain that I gave you. And so you had to create a zone file, something like this, with the appropriate records in it. A couple of you might have messed up on maybe put NS down here instead of A, or maybe you fat-fingered and typed something, incorrect IP address, or you flip-flopped them, or something weird, which you would have lost a few points for. You had, on the slave, you had to do the same thing, but named.conf.local, so that was the authoritative forward lookups, slave, caching lookup. Configure both machines to be caching lookup servers. So etc bind named.conf.options. You need to add this allow recursion line. Now I can see that many of you added this allow query, which is in fact wrong. That's not what I was asking for. I was asking for the allow recursion. That.
Yeah. So you didn't want to have the allow query just RIP and localhost?
Allow query, you should have just had it like we had always in the past.
Okay, so
I mean, this, I guess technically it didn't break anything, but this is what I was looking for.
yeah, what I meant was like all we had to put in the allow query, all we should have put was those two things like localhost and the IP of the machine. So.
IP of the machine, you could have put the range of your network. I really didn't go look at this line very much. I was just looking at this line. And that needed to be done on the master and on the slave. Some of you forgot to do it on the slave. And then, oh, operating system. This is the most commonly missed one. So, in the when you change the host name, I'm looking for 2 things. I'm looking for Etsy host name, of course, and then I'm also looking for Etsy host. You have to do both, and see, this person only did half. They did Etsy host name, but they did not put the corresponding entry in Etsy host.
Did you log into
You'll have to do this again sometime. So no, I didn't log in yours.
See, I got really confused on this part because I was like, I know I had to do something with this file, but then I saw this other input and I got a little scared of it. So I was like, I'm not going to put anything in there. I'm going to print
And then, oops, I meant the last thing we needed to do was glue records basically for delegation. I was trying to give you some easy points. 20 points for delegation. It's really putting those 4 lines there at the end. And that's pretty much the same for all of us. Oh, actually this person didn't, I don't know if they did it correct. This one's supposed to be A records, right?
Yeah, because the 2 top ones are NS and the bottom are supposed to be A.
Yeah.
Because then it gives, yeah, yours heavy.
Yeah, okay. So
we all had the same.
I didn't look very closely at a couple of these lines.
You're trying to be nice.
I was trying to be nice.
Before you retired. Yeah.
And my scripture wasn't working great.
So you had to do it all.
Yeah. Okay, so is there any general questions you wanted to ask about that exam?
I was wondering what on my machine constancy you couldn't actually get an answer from it. Because I'm actually curious on what that was.
I don't remember off the top of my head. There's too many I have to look at. So
Okay.
we can take a look after class.
I was just curious more so that I could be like, oh, that's what I missed out on. So I know better next time.
Anything else on that exam?
Just a quick question for changing the name for NS1. I have the .cs.dc.edu on the end of that one on the first file and on Etsy host.
Oh, and Etsy host.
Is that, or are we supposed to keep that part of it, or is that supposed to?
Oops. Yes, I would put the fully qualified domain name there, and then the short name. Yep. So you would put like ns1.kimchi.thegumbybear.com or whatever.
Okay. Not,
Sorry, you don't
not
get
the
yours.
.cs.
Right. Right. So once again, if there's something that you want me to look at again, I can, but I reserve the right to look at everything again if I look at anything, so.
I'm gonna keep my grade.
Good enough for me.
You ever run out of chairs and they're all breaking?
Gonna have to come in and replace
Don't
it
even-
during Christmas break.
That's right. What else come in? Okay, so what's next? Let's take a look. Next one is, we're done with quizzes, we are moving on to, let's say, the 15th. So we're on practical, we have 2 exams next week, Monday and Friday. The one on Monday is email. So let's go look at our review assignment for just a moment. I don't know if you've looked at it, or, and these I do not have auto graders for. So you just need to double check that you're doing it right, and then yeah.
Still sad. I tried to see if I could skip SAS and it's like, no, you can't log in. I'm like, I have to do SAS.
So I usually have not had students do SASL on the exam. I've had them do IMAP, but SASL is kind of its own little beast, so.
I couldn't log in through Thunderbird without it. It would not let me. As soon as I did SAS, it finally let me actually log in. So
Yeah.
that was where, because at the very bottom, it kept it going to like the Thunderbird and then send an email through it. So I was like, okay.
Okay. So, you're supposed to create another virtual machine. I didn't care if you cloned mine. I didn't care how you created it. Get another machine, give it an unused IP address, install XM, configure XM on the system to receive and keep any email messages that have the machine's fully qualified domain name in the host part of the address. Configure XM to send outgoing messages via smart host. Choose an IP address not in use. Use your DNS system to give it an IP address. Should be in your main production domain. So we're going to call that a fake satellite system, so that if I were to send something to fake.thegummybro.com, in the end, we hope it'll be received by this new mail server we're setting up. Configure the new mail server to relay messages for this IP. That's one of mine. And the IP of your fake satellite system. It should not relay for any other systems. Configure the new mail server to accept and keep mail messages that have fake satellite's host name. Okay. In addition to the new mail server's host name, configure DNS. What are we doing to configure DNS? How do we do that? Add an MX record, so if we're setting to fake dot whatever your domain is, it will actually go to this mail host.
If you're doing like a satellite bill, you add in like the, you go underneath it, the tab to the next line, do like a 10, and then the name of the.
Yeah, I wonder if I don't remember if I have this one installed anymore on my NS1. Or if I have the configuration there, I should say. Everywhere.com. It's probably. I have way too much crap in there. Oh, so I called mine. I called mine mail 2. Whatever. And so if mail 2, whatever, mail 2 is destined as the recipient host, I'm going to send it to mail 2 down here below, and mail 2 had this new IP address, and yeah, fake. I don't know if I had a fake one yet. I don't remember where it is, but I guess I could see it.
It still shows like the in MX mail, or send it to mail.
Yeah, I mean, so if it was like this one, and I wanted to send it to mail 2, obviously you change this one to mail 2.
What does a 10 mean in front of the mail?
Well, yeah, we haven't really talked about that. You can actually have different weights. If you had multiple mail servers, for example, that set up for your domain, you could give one a weight of 10, another one a weight of 20, so that, I don't understand the purpose of it, but it'll go to the one that has the lowest weight.
So is that required though?
The 10 is rude. You need to have a number there. Yeah. But you could there could be potentially a different number there, but for our class, we're just doing 10 for all that. New user, we know how to do that. configure the dovecot. So you're saying that you had to do SASL as well for dovecot?
Well, after Dovecot, I tried to do login through like Thunderbird. It wouldn't allow me, but as soon as I got SASL working, it allowed me to log in.
So you definitely won't be able to send messages from Thunderbird without using SASL. But I think you'll be able to do retrieve messages using
I
IMAP.
may have not configured it right in the first place because I found some other errors that were causing it. So there could have been something that was wrong with it. I just did SASL anyways, and oh well, it's done now. But I installed SASL, and then I guess I made a couple changes and then it worked. So I was thinking SASL was part of the problem, but it probably wasn't. I don't know.
So out of those topics, any of that you want to review?
With what did we have to do with the desktop again? I'm trying to remember the slides.